episode of XenoChat. I am one of the hosts, Tyler, along with my co-host, Justin.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for coming back to another episode of XenoChat.
Alright, and we got a full cast today. First up, we have Mary.
Hello.
Nick.
Yep, that's me.
Brielle.
Hello.
Robin.
Me again.
And we have Pure back.
Hello, my name is Pure, and I'll be your favorite Xeno villain for the day.
As always.
Couldn't have it any other way.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Complexity.
Oh, yeah. So today, everyone's here to discuss. This was a winner of one of our Twitter polls a long while back, but it's we're going to discuss various connections and references between the Xeno games. Now, disclaimer: this is not like, oh, Xenogears, Xenosaga, and Xenoblade are all in the same world. No. We're just discussing various references that pop up between the different games, and also though some of them are kind of concrete, but others are based on our own speculation. So you may not agree with some of our references and connections. So just throwing that out there. But we will discuss and present a little discussion of why we think these are related to each other in certain elements. But before we do that, we are going to just talk a little bit about the latest news. We've got a little bit of things going on. First up, we have a Structure Arts teasing new figures for Xenogears. See, it's one's for Weltall, Vierge, Brigadier, and Heimdall, right?
Yeah, or Faye's Gears, Ellie's Gear, Bart's Gear, and Satan's Gear.
Yeah, and let's see. The Structure Arts, that's the...
I'm guessing based
brand?
on basically nothing, that I know that Figure Arts is their, toy brand, that Structure Arts is probably, since it's mostly robots, a kit thing. But
Yeah, I couldn't tell you a single Structure Arts figure
I
that I
had
know.
never heard of Structure Arts before I saw the tweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Sounds
not
like
familiar with
structure.
that.
Who knows,
either.
it might even
That's
just
art.
be a new line, because they're starting to see that they actually have a lot more mechs and machines in Square Enix IPs than they probably thought they did.
That said, I would be totally down to build any of these figures.
Same.
I mean, hey, that'd be kind of cool if they started doing, front mission kits.
Have they ever made a figure of the mechs from Final Fantasy VI or anything?
To my knowledge, no.
No.
Yeah.
Really? They've never done a Magitech?
What a waste!
To my knowledge,
Not one
no.
that I've seen, no. It makes me sad.
Wow,
I would
that'd be-
love to get a Magitech figure.
Huh.
Speaking of that same designer, I would love to see a figure of Harold. But,
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh, yeah. Also in news, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 reached 2 million sales worldwide, so congratulations, Xenoblade 2 and Microsoft.
Yay!
It's about damn time.
Yeah.
It's for
Awesome.
a long time, it was just right. It was right around, I think, 1.8 mil for a while. And then now I think they said it was in June that it surpassed 2 mil. I think.
Yes, the quarantine times when people had nothing better to do than collect waifus and gacha games.
Also, I think
Is Xenoblade 2 even still in print?
I think the game also went on sale during that time too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it did go on sale at some point, I think.
Well, I know
it's a
Definitive
Nintendo
Edition went
game.
on sale. That was $40 at one point.
Do we know
surely
how
it's still
well
in print.
how well the sales are for that?
That one was reported at 1.4 mil, I'm pretty sure.
Oh gosh, so it's
This
definitely-
is not good news. I don't know what you guys are on about. That means more people are playing Xeno. What is wrong with you guys? I think if there's one thing that unites all of us in this podcast, is that we all very peacefully agree that the Xeno games aren't really that good.
Yeah, that's what inspired this podcast. It's just so
Yeah.
we can keep shaming 2 million people.
I mean, I prefer the term trash because it makes me feel included.
That's fair.
Well, I wasn't going to go that far, but you're more than welcome to.
You
know,
hear
go
that,
farther
2
if you
million
like.
people?
Yeah.
Your taste is garbage.
Yep.
No, I just have that clip of that little child in Xenosaga going like
Garbage.
And then you crank off screaming. Okay, yeah, I can track that down.
I just...
Garbage.
Now that you mentioned kids in Xenosaga, I just remember those 1s and 3 that, like, Naruto run around and shit. Like, they were doing it before it was popular.
Was there? I think was there any other news, or was that it?
The Melia?
Oh
yes.
yes. We talked about Melia previously, the figure, but there's a prototype out. Insert picture here, and she looks beautiful.
It's so beautiful. It's so pretty. And I'm like, I just splurged on Cosmos, and now I'm gonna have to splurge on Melia. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be fun, but she does look cool.
Yeah, and it,
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we don't know when that's coming out, do we? I don't think they had a release date.
No, but Good
It
Smile
takes a while
released
after a
whole
prototype.
bunch of things very quickly.
They'll
Or
probably
release previews. Sorry.
That's one of those, like, statuettes from, like, the Good Smile
Yeah,
company,
yeah.
right?
If
Yeah.
it's Good Smile,
Yeah,
they'll
yeah.
probably
Same.
release the info if there's an online version of Jump Festa happening in a few months, or possibly they might wait for the usual annual figure presentation in the first quarter of the year. That's when they usually do a lot of their figure announcements for the coming year and whatnot. So.
Well,
I'll wait for
usually
the Tyrell.
after there's a
Just kidding.
prototype, it usually takes a few months before you get like an actual date for a release.
But you'll usually at least see pictures. Like, they always show, like, at least some kind of content.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be, the next step is going to be they're going to show it at a con, or they're going to show it at the usual figure presentation.
I guess it's gonna be figure
Probably that's
presentation since cons are not a
Yeah.
thing
Online
right now.
cons are a thing now.
Yeah.
Online conventions are a thing, though.
Yeah.
Conning people on
And
the internet.
actually,
Conning on the internet is
when I watched
Yes.
Attack-a-thon SCON, there was actually a Good Smile Company segment where they went around their building and stuff. So it could be possible they may take that approach as well. But yeah.
That was really cool. I looked everywhere for specific figures, but they actually blurred out most of them.
They couldn't get the rights.
Well, they said, oh, well, these are a bunch of unreleased or unannounced things, so we're not showing them to you, and they just had, like, pixelation over them. I know that's the hentai figures. I know it.
Alright. I think that's it. Unless I'm forgetting something.
No, I think that's pretty much
Okay.
it.
Alright, then without further ado, we'll go into the main topic of this episode. Basically observing and discussing any connections we've seen between Xenogears, Xenosaga, and Xenoblade. Yep. So, we have a big old document with a list to go. We want to say 5 pages? Oh no, 6 pages.
But I don't know if the last page is that long.
It's like 5.5.
When did it...
No, the last page
Yeah,
is not
5.5.
long. Yeah.
Let me interject here. I
Okie
need
doke.
you guys listening to know,
Okay, yes.
all you listeners out there, I've not looked at this document, not contributed to it. I don't know what it looks like, except for one thing. There's one thing I saw, and but otherwise I have not. I am coming into this incredibly unprepared. Normally, remember that little game we did that wasn't really going to be a game, but the Myths episode?
Yeah.
I had a list of things. This is the opposite of that. I don't even have my Xeno hard drive. That's like, I think my Xeno hard drive has like 4 terabytes of shit in it. I don't have that plugged in right now. I have some things copied here and there, but I'm not. I want to come into this one on a fresh mind. This was one of those. Can't blame me for being unprepared, because nothing. Well, actually, you can blame me for being unprepared because nothing important was happening this week. Nothing at all. Nothing important happened today in the world.
By the way, it is November 7th of the year 2020.
Exactly. Nothing important happened today. There's no news. That I haven't been busy with anything. This is it's been the most quiet week, and nothing's been happening. So you can blame me for not coming prepared. So you guys can give me shit for that. But I want to come in here with a fresh impression, which you guys written down, and I want to sit here and quietly judge you all, as I so often do to this fandom. So, with
we're gonna get roasted.
The one thing that I saw that let me refresh this because I might not be here anymore. Yeah, I don't think I see it anymore. Somebody wrote down that every Xeno game is basically Takahashi making the same game, and whoever that was, I want to shake your hand.
Yeah, we can remove that.
The only thing that would have been better if you included the word creative bankruptcy. I'm sorry, that's 2 words.
The phrase, rather. But yeah, we didn't want to get too, we didn't want to play too many guessing games there with that. We could assume that that's the case, but,
I mean, I've stated before that it's, like, the games are more narratively related. Like, this is mostly people being fans of an author. This is, like, the worst version of a book club.
Yeah, like, you could tell me that every one of Chuck Tingle's stories are...
What? No, I would never tell you that, because it's not true. Every single one of those is an original gem. How dare you?
So what you're telling me is that every Xeno game is like every season of Stranger Things.
Sure, I've never watched that. Why not?
I've never watched it either, except for, actually, I watched a few episodes, but it doesn't count.
I never watched it.
Wow.
You don't.
None of you guys have watched it?
What the fuck is TV?
It's not on TV.
It's on Netflix.
I don't have Netflix.
It took me a year to finish Hannibal.
I mean, I don't think that it just, speaks to me. So.
But anyway, Xeno.
What? That doesn't sound like Hannibal. Try again.
Well.
Alright.
So, let's start. We kind of broke these up into different categories. We'll start with, constants in almost every Xeno game. So these are basically just a broader scale in the Xeno stories in each game that are similar to each other. Anyway, so first up, fragmented / broken characters. So characters looking for ways to find their missing pieces to become whole. Let's see.
Nah, I don't know if that one applies to anything in this.
I was gonna say
it doesn't sound.
Who suggested that?
I was going to say it ties into a later point we make about many of the protagonists having dual personalities or dual aspects of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as just generally characters finding ways to become whole, although that was a prevalent theme in Xenogears, I don't know how well it carried out through the series.
Well, technically, Shion had a lot of struggle as well, and
I mean, you see
know,
that.
I think in her case, it was more overcoming or whatever she had gone through than becoming whole.
I was actually going to say that whole has very when it comes to a sentence like this, whole can mean so many things. It could mean finding who you are as a person, finding peace with yourself, finding your significant other, and whatnot. It has so many different meanings that it's basically just it's just a general, explanation.
But it's kind of true that there's quite a few
I was
characters.
gonna say because I was the one who wrote that, and there's a reason why "whole" is in quotations.
Get him!
Yeah, go ahead, fight me. Because quite a few characters are broken in some way in quite a few of these games, and they have like another half. I mean, Cosmos has another half, right? The world of Xenoblade 1, you had the two Mechanics and Bionis and Mechanis. You have in Xenogears, you often see characters that are broken and that are looking for that other half. And I always felt that like that whole idea of somebody trying to seek out something to complete themselves in some sort of way, that always seemed to be somewhat of a recurring theme in some way, shape, or form in these games.
I would almost say like you'd almost say like Rex in a way, because like he was kind of just like, oh, I'm just stuck in this job, I guess I'm gonna have the rest of my life, and then just somebody comes in and fucks that all up, and he's like, hey, I have a reason to live now.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, he wasn't exactly depressed before, but still.
I mean, Rex's whole thing was just that he was already a good boy, and that was what they, like, Pyra and Mithra needed. They just needed a genuinely good boy.
Yeah, I think in the case of Xenoblade 2, it was more Mithra and Pyra that had, like, the sort of broken part.
It's
Like
most
the-
obvious
yeah,
with
definitely.
Pyra and Mithra as far as Blade 2
Okay.
goes. If you really want to get into it,
And,
you could
Jin
also
as
say
well.
some of the Blades kind of complete some of the other people that live there for some
Like
people.
Gorg was like missing his sweet stand, and that's like it.
Praxis in Theory
Once you made
is
that.
another one. She wanted to really go for a stretch. But also like Xenoblade Cross, like the whole thing about them trying to find a life hold, because that's basically their
Yeah.
missing half.
Okay, yeah.
Broken home.
So should we move to the next thing? The next thing was headed by Owen. Honestly, I don't know much about these two philosophers, so I'll let you guys go on it if you know more. But it's all have. Oh God, why did I go into this? I cannot
Do you
pronounce
want me
this.
to tag in? Okay.
Someone else.
So
So
Someone
all
else.
have a philosophical / psychoanalyst undertones in Nietzsche and Jung. Other games choosing to add their philosophical, psychological basis needed. Gears had Lacan, Freud, and Horny, and Saga had alchemical practices, and Blade had monology. Basically, monadology, sorry.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
Thank
yeah,
you for
not a
reading
problem.
it.
Yet again, my philosophy degree coming into play in a way where I didn't need to get a philosophy degree to do this.
Oh, sweet. We got an expert.
Yeah!
Oh yeah.
My focus was on, like, artificial intelligence. I can't help you with any of this.
There's still like a Bill Clinton voice to say that for some reason.
But yeah.
But there are strong Nietzschean themes throughout the Xeno series. Nietzsche, of course, being most famous for saying God is dead, by which he meant that the need for a divine being to judge people was gone, and people could kind of control their own actions. We don't need to believe that there is any sort of divine being that is going to judge humanity for its beliefs and actions. But it's often just quoted as meaning like, oh look, people have killed religion, and it's like, that's not quite what he meant. He meant that, like, you don't need to look to the skies to figure out morality. And that's certainly a thing that ties in well with Gnosticism, which is another very prevalent theme throughout the Xeno series, where you find... Well, with Gnosticism, you find the divine within yourself, and with Nietzschean beliefs, it's not so much you find the divine within yourself, so much as you find morality within yourself. And you could argue the points of those basically being the same thing, but that's kind of getting a bit more in-depth about specifics in a way that I'm searching for a word and therefore taking pauses.
Splitting hairs? Splitting hairs?
No, that wasn't the word I was looking for, but yeah, that is splitting hairs.
Oh, okay.
That works quite well.
Yeah. I mean, also to kind
Fair
of
enough.
go into the Jung side, like with the like collective unconscious is like prevalent in like Xenosaga and Xenoblade X. Like literally has. Well, I guess they both kind of literally have a more of a tie to the collective unconscious, was just more an abstract, like. Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say, is it collective unconscious or subconscious? I thought it was subconscious. Just checking.
So unconscious would be the things that you're completely unaware of, so like your dream state of being, and subconscious is the things that you're kind of aware of, but not in any meaningful way, like your instincts, your default reactions.
That's what I was kind of thinking.
Yeah,
It
it's
was like, but yeah.
unconscious. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I actually have something to say about this one.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Oh,
Please.
go ahead.
So unfortunately, my Xeno Bat Cave is not plugged in at the moment. I actually had a lot written down about how some of these philosophers have influenced certain things about the games. So I'm not going to remember a lot of it. So I don't want to like try to remember and get something horribly wrong or anything like that, unfortunately. Keep in mind, I'm 78 years old. I'm turning 79 in 2 months. It's worth keeping in mind that Takahashi, when he uses a lot of these philosophers, when you're playing these games and you see these things and you question how, you mentioned how some people maybe had a bit of an extreme interpretation, how maybe the games were just outright anti-religious or something like that. Takahashi actually, when he sees these people as a source of inspiration for some of the things he's writing, but he's also he also feels that, at least within the context of the things they've written, he thinks they're out of their minds. Like, I'm not even. That's not conjecture. That's how he actually feels. Like he thinks these people, when you're reading their stuff, they sound crazy, which makes it more inspiring in some ways. Like you see, I'm trying to think of a character like Utic, and it can be seen as in some regards, not completely, but in some regards, you can see them as a pretty out there interpretation of the will to power, so to speak. And if you've ever read certain texts from him, the tone of what was written, it can be a little out there sometimes. I've actually sat and read it. So he's using that as a base of some of his inspiration. He's not always portraying it in a way that is necessarily always positive. He's not necessarily saying, "Oh, here's what this guy wrote. Here's a 100. This is me completely approving of everything he's written." He's using it in a way that's more than just, saying this is the meaning of life. This is the answer. That's not necessarily how he's always using it at all, really.
Okay. I always did get the feeling that there was a lot of things that were left open-ended in the series on purpose. Like, not even just like, oh, well, we didn't get to this because of, production issues or something like that. We're just like, no, that was meant to just be kind of like left there. But I don't know. That was just kind of like my feeling on some of the things in the series.
Well, you're right, but there's some things that did not appear because of production things, but there are things that are intentionally not given away, or sometimes not even thought of for that specific reason, because there's one thing that Takahashi is pretty aware of, and it's that if you just sit there and let's say you have a question about this series, if he just sits there and gives you the answer, a lot of that magic that some people feel, or even just like the buzz of it, just dies at that very moment.
Yeah, I kind of always got that feeling. There's a lot of people who chalk like everything that is unanswered in that series up to production issues, and I was just like, nah, I don't think so.
Well, with Nietzsche specifically, he actually did spend time in a mental hospital, which was when his sister took all of his works and said, "Cool, let me just rewrite these so they're now pro-Nazi." And Nietzsche went, "That's not what I said. How fucking dare you?" But he was in a mental hospital, so he couldn't really advocate for himself.
That's gonna be me, my Xeno stuff. I'm gonna be in a mental ward. So he's gonna take my unreleased Xeno project and just reword it horribly and
make
No.
Xeno sound
I
good.
can't wait to see you in the next Indiana Jones movie. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
No, I was never mad. It really exists.
I never said Xeno was good.
Anyway,
But it exists.
alright. So the next one is the usage of anima and animus.
Don't do drugs, first of all. And second of all, I don't know where I'm going with this. You guys pick
Well,
up.
that was an excellent introduction.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, anima and
Now-
animus are used very explicitly in Gears and Saga. In as far as they relate to a male and a female component, you could easily project them onto Blade with Mayneth and Zanza.
I
Yeah,
guess.
because I can't remember if I have this right. It was like the anima, or one of them is like.
Anima
The
is
male
feminine,
aspect
animus is masculine.
Okay, is it the feminine? Oh, okay, sorry.
It's fine. I mostly know this through my 1 year of taking Latin.
Oh, I thought that said my animus. My bad.
Yeah, shit. So they used animus
God,
to advertise Xenogears to young boys because they said this has 20 minutes of animu.
Yep, that's what it was.
And people say Xeno was never anime.
It's still never been anime. What are you talking about? It's never been anime.
I liked the part where the hyperrealism and the hyperrealistic blood came out and killed my family.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Rip.
Well, that was riveting.
Please go on.
Shall we go on to the next point, or does anyone have anything else?
I don't think we have anything to say about this.
Well, this is
I
a
mean-
great
Yeah, no.
document.
I thought that one was just supposed to be self-explanatory. I wasn't sure like where we were going to go from there with that one.
It is
I'm just
pretty
like, oh.
self-explanatory. It's
Yeah.
It's worth pointing out that this is incredibly common in anime and video games and comic books. Anime and animus is the thing you're going to see and not even realize it was there. Like in so many works of fiction, it's like ridiculous. And I think other things have done it in a more
Graceful?
Subtle?
well, I mean, Xeno, I think the bar's not high. But I guess in a way that maybe I'm trying to find a tasteful way to say this. In a way that Carl Jung would have been more would have said, yeah, this is more related to what I wrote, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Or what I was trying to say is what Carl Jung would think. I mean, I'm not saying it's like horrible here or anything. It's just, and now I wish I had my Xeno Batcave plugged in. But I
You
mean,
did this to yourself.
either way, there's I don't think I ever really had too much to say about this specific one.
It's okay. We can just move on to the next one.
You'll have to wait for the Xeno project.
I mean, it's just mentioned. It's there.
Oh, anyway, well, something that's very prominent throughout all of most of the Xeno games is religion tends to play a role in the world building with allusions to Christianity, Gnosticism, and Jewish Kabbalah. See our religion episode or more.
Yeah, the religion episode does cover this much more thoroughly, but in a general sense, I think all of them cover the Gnostic idea of any god cannot be without, it must be within.
Mm-hmm.
But again, so as to keep advertising ourselves, that's all I'll say on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Marie, do you want to take the next point? Because I took your previous point.
It's okay that you took those because you were the one who could back it up.
I can only back up
best.
Nietzsche.
Yeah. All right. So do we move to
Yeah,
the
we're on
next one? or-
because again, I don't want to talk too
Okay.
much about religion when that's a thing that we
Although-
spent an entire episode on.
2 episodes, actually.
An entire 2 episodes on.
Although I'm not even sure like what to say on the next
Well,
one.
you can take but 2 of them. But go ahead.
This one's pretty. Yeah, this one's
Yeah,
just
just-
pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's kind of
Either is magic, source of power, and storytelling device. So I guess just their energy, basically.
Yeah, consistently
Yeah,
they
it's-
use ether as magic.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely.
in Xenoblade. They also talk about how like everything's made from ether. So I guess
Mhm. Yeah, pretty
And
much.
I mean, ether's not even
It's just-
that uncommon
it's just
in these kind
matter.
of games too. Like not just Xeno.
Yeah. Yeah, it's often there. It's often like the source of energy in a lot of games. It's like it's either like a type of other magic or ether.
Mhm.
So
The point is they're consistent.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Except Faye uses
Mhm.
chi
Yeah.
and Citan uses arcane.
Okay.
someone want to take
Yeah,
the
and then
next
the
one?
next one, they all tend to be examinations of the human condition, especially when given power. Does anyone have anything to say about?
I don't know. I'm not the one
Oh,
who wrote
okay,
this
okay,
one, so
well,
I'm not
yeah.
sure.
We can go into like specifics and say some things like, for instance, the Xenoblade 1 and 2 especially are both like very representative of this. With like, especially like in 2 when you meet the architect,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's like, oh, he's just some dude. You know, he kind of fucked up and made this place, but you know, we live with that.
Yeah,
Right, so
Yeah.
there's also a little bit with Amalthus and how he was treated, and then how he kind of unleashed, or how he kind of tried to get back to people once he got power or gained power.
Yeah.
I can't believe you guys haven't even mentioned Albedo yet.
Who? I've never heard of that character.
No.
Alright. Fair
Is he like a background character in Pied Piper or something?
No, he's just not. He's in Freaks. He's
Oh,
just like there. Just shows
That's
up.
weird.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Huh. Alright, I'll have to go look at the wiki for Freaks to figure out who that guy is.
Is he the one who started the cat virus?
Yes.
Xenoblade Cross is a bigger examination of the human condition, which is part of why, to me, it took longer for it to feel like it was part of the same series. But it did kind of cover, like, what is it to be a man? What does that mean? Do you have to have a body and a soul? Do you just need a body? Is your soul part of your body? Which are all things that are deeply interesting to me, but are not super touched on in the rest of the Xeno games.
I'm going to be honest with you, that was kind of the reason that I got more into Xenoblade Cross after I beat it than before I beat it.
Yeah.
Like, after I finished the game, I wanted to play it more because of that shit.
Yeah, no, it was a fun game. I had a great time with it the whole time. It was just, it took a while for it to feel like a proper Xeno game, because with the others, the threat is more some other non-god thing being a god, and you're like, stop that. No, you're not. And with Cross, it's just kind of dealing with the human condition and what does it mean to be human.
Yeah. And I just really liked that. Well, I mean, amongst other things, there was a lot of stuff I liked about that game that, for me, outweighed the bad. But there's a lot of people who I understand why they would not like it as much. And yeah.
As far as the
Pretty
addition of like human beings given power, there's that in Gears with the Gazel Ministry and Graf, of course.
Yeah, I was about
I was
to say
trying so
Graf.
hard to avoid that guy. With Saga,
Do you desire the power?
with Saga, you kind of have Utic and the immigrant fleet at least perceiving themselves as being more powerful or / pure than the rest of the people.
Ormus, yeah.
Or Ormus, yes, exactly.
Yeah. Ormus is like, yeah.
So it's about like perceived prestige And perceived prestige is a really weird phrase that I'm going to stop saying because it has a bad mouthfeel.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel like the next 2 points can kind of be combined.
Yes, would you like to read the next 2
Yeah.
points?
Yes, so this is the politics of the world, but the world of military base have been a central theme as well, especially in the earlier installments, or rather, the earlier Xeno games. And also that they tend to be very critical of religion's place in politics, arguing for a separation of the church and the state.
Can't believe they said that, and then they fucking employ the Christian the embodiment of a major Christian figure.
I can't believe this game's political.
How dare they?
Right?
How dare they?
The new games aren't political.
Yeah,
They're
no,
politics
new
on the
games aren't
games.
political. They have nothing political to say.
Yeah.
I only play non-political games like Metal Gear Solid 2.
Mm-hmm. On that note, I'm gonna just bump up a different point, but in science versus religion, which I don't feel comes up super much. They kind of marry the two, very specifically with like Cosmos and Mary Magdalene, where they're just like, let's just shove our religion into our science. And then, there's...
If anything, it almost seems like one leads to the other, as opposed to it being science versus religion.
Yeah, they're very much like married.
Yeah.
In Gears, you of course had the ethos / church being the controllers of technology as a means of controlling people and power within the world.
A lot of times it seems like with that sort of thing, it's like, well, this isn't necessarily just a unfounded cult. They're right, but it's real fucked up that they are.
And then Xenoblade 2, has Klaus and being
Right.
kind of
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying before, how it's almost like religion came as a result of science.
Mm-hmm.
It was Klaus's experiment that created the world and essentially created all the legends and religions of all rest and the world of Xenoblade 1.
You know, it's always exciting when you get to make a reference to Futurama. But, so there's that Futurama episode where the professor gets so mad at creationism that he just goes and makes his own planet of robots. And then the robots start to worship him as a god. And then he tries to explain, like, no, this was actually just evolution. So yeah, Klaus is the professor in this entire side story. Klaus confirmed for Professor Farnsworth.
Alright. So, the next one is the destruction of Earth and people being forced to move on. That's...
That happens a lot.
Xenosaga.
Technically Xenoblade as well,
Xenoblade
considering their world pretty much gets poofed by the Zohar.
Oh, yeah.
Xenoblade 2 is also, it's
Although I say the Zohar, but I don't. They call it the conduit,
The conduit.
or I don't even know how they pronounce it.
Conduit.
And there's also just Conduit. And there's also, of course, Xenoblade X, where it's like, if you don't know that's like the premise of the game.
Then you didn't play past the prologue.
Then you didn't see the demo.
Maybe you just played the
You just skipped the intro.
You're like, oh my god, this is
Yeah,
boring,
you're
I
just
just want
like,
my
no.
robot.
You just stop playing at the title
You didn't
screen.
see the intro, you didn't even see the commercial, you didn't see any of the ads.
Well, that doesn't look like Earth. I'm
While
out.
we're here, I'd like to say something.
Mhm.
By all means.
Yes.
I once saw someone talk about, trying to connect the games in a more literal way. Specifically, using an example that basically part of their argument was you literally, keep that word in mind, that you actually saw, just like in Xenoblade X, apparently, in Xenosaga, the Earth gets destroyed. I just think you need to know something. It never happened. That's it.
The Earth never got destroyed?
Earth is not destroyed in Xenosaga. You do not see it either until the very end. It's very much not destroyed. So you need to watch what you say, because
if Earth being destroyed is all you need,
destruction of Earth could mean that it's not accessible, because the entirety of Xenosaga started basically even states that the Earth, originally as it was lost to their type of space for a while. It got sucked in because of some of the events with the I believe the Lemigeton project was the thing, if I remember correctly.
They left Earth, and then one day they couldn't find it.
Yeah, they left Earth.
Where'd you park Earth?
The reason why you can't see it is because Wilhelm. He's the one that's doing it. So, I'm going to repeat. You do not literally see the Earth getting destroyed, which was what this person said. There is no scene where an asteroid comes and hits Earth or some shit, and it's gone, or aliens come and destroy the Earth.
Wait.
Like in Xenoblade.
Yeah, they just left.
Lost would be a better word.
Lost or abandoned would be a better.
I'm just saying.
Would be a better word for it.
That this person's being very misinformative. To push a very misinformative theory that was being portrayed as fact. I just wanted to throw that out there without turning it into a half-hour tirade about how at times unintelligent the fandom is. That is all I wanted to say.
Okay,
2 points.
That could be its own podcast.
Wow. I was actually defending the point in the document. I don't agree with what that person went ahead and said in any regards. Just want to go ahead and clear that up.
What document? What are we talking about?
Okay, wait. So
this is our document,
except for you,
where we have all of our references.
Oh. Okay. Okay. So I forgot we had this for a second.
So inside baseball, we are using a document to stay organized. Yes. Now you know.
No, I have it open, and it's literally in front of me, and I still somehow forgot you guys were using it.
Yeah. Well, 2 points. One of which just being that in this day and age, people use literally to just mean emphatically. Which
but it was worded as if there was a cutscene and you had to watch it.
My other point. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. No, go on.
My other point is just that if anything that involves Earth being destroyed can now be linked, then Xenoblade Cross takes place at the same time as Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes. I've never seen that movie.
But have you read the book?
Have you read the book?
No. I forgot there was a book.
Yeah, I recommend the book above
Clearly
the
haven't read the book. The book is... Yeah, the books are really good. Well, the books kind of start getting old about...
Yeah, the fourth part of the trilogy is a bit unnecessary.
I mean, honestly, they start getting old in 3, because he, really leans into the lore.
At 4, he stopped having fun writing it. But that's...
Yeah. You can tell.
The ultimate point is true, though, that Earth gets fucked in some way. Takahashi loves to do that. He always loves to link it back to planet Earth so that he can say, oh... It started with the real world, but he just loves to have it destroyed or disappeared, possibly forever. It's Takahashi loves this. He can tell he hates planet Earth, so don't worry, I hate planet Earth too. That's something we have in common, Takahashi.
We all do.
Yep.
All right. I think the next one was Nyx, I think.
Hold on a second. I was just reading something. That might actually be true. At the time that I was writing it, I was like, well, I think that one is in a few, and then I didn't. I was like, maybe not in the literal sense, but
what you talking about?
I'm actually trying to think.
It's literally
it was
one word.
I know that reincarnation was definitely a thing in. I had it written down on one of our notes before. And I think I had thought it out more then, but I didn't really elaborate, so...
move on to the next one?
Yeah. I know it happens in Xenogears for sure, but yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
I said
say
yes,
the thing.
reincarnation.
You're fine.
Sorry.
No, we're only going to talk in vague
Did I not say it?
sentences because
Oh,
we
I
are
thought I
all
said it.
Nephilim.
Well, I didn't want to, I didn't want to give it away if it was a really dumb idea.
No.
I mean, not that I haven't done that plenty of times
you
before,
could,
but
in a way, you could argue that in Xenoblade 2,
I was
when
gonna argue the
Yeah,
blades a
Go
little
ahead.
bit,
yeah,
Make the
but
argument.
they come back but their memories are wiped, so it's almost like they're
Well, yeah.
completely new people, but reincarnation.
that and they also kind of like reincarnate as
Mhm.
Titans later
Mm-hmm.
when they've lived out a certain span. So there's
Yeah.
that as well. As far as Xenoblade 1, I guess you could argue the rebirth of the universe at the end.
I think in a way Zanza kind of isn't exactly reborn, but he does get new hosts.
I was thinking
Yeah,
Zanza
it's
too.
just kind of like, yeah, I mean, it's a soft reincarnate. It's a soft reboot of the universe, but it's
Yeah,
still
his
there.
reboot is mostly he eats everything, and then the
Yeah,
table scraps have to reproduce.
yeah, basically that works. That works for me. Maybe I'm not in the mind to like defend it any further than that, but
And of
that's
course, there's
an
the
example,
obvious
so there you go.
in Gears.
Couldn't you also say
Yeah.
Shulk in a weird way reincarnates? Since he
I'm gonna leave that on the table because I have a later point about Shulk.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, I was
good.
just mostly saying that because, he basically died in a way. Actually, him and Rex both kind of died at some point and were kind of
Yeah.
brought back.
Jesus.
So this one was actually really meta. This entire series.
Yeah,
just
the
reincarnates.
series reincarnates. That's true. Yep.
Yeah, they just make the same
Yeah.
story over and over again.
Because we all know
Maybe-
Takahashi just reuses the same story over and over again.
Yeah, maybe you'll make a creepy cult fan base over time.
Alright.
Other
Perhaps.
other constants in the series is some kind of higher existence, such as the wave existence, Udu, and I would also argue like maybe Klaus.
Man, yeah, this one's really unique. Deity in a JRPG.
Yeah, I don't think that's been done before.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, really unique in that regard. Just incredible.
But yeah, that does return in most of the games in some form or another.
I think. Wait a minute. Now that I think about it, Xenoblade X doesn't really have that, does it?
What it does have is the ganglion are worshipping a god of unclear physical status.
Yeah, that's true, but I guess because you never see it or anything, like it's just it feels everything else is mentioned or seen, and it feels like a, like with Xenoblade X, what you mentioned, it's like such a small part of what you're seeing and dealing with in the story. It's so strange.
Yeah.
When I really think about it.
Yeah.
I think there's like a mystical sense to like the planet.
Yeah,
era
absolutely,
in
there is
Xenoblade X
that.
that is fair. That's very
Yes.
kind of suggestive of things, but other than
That feels
I'm not,
closer to that, actually, when you put it that way. But it is. I actually kind of like that about X. It wasn't like.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, thank goodness there's no, like, you don't fight, a deity or meet a deity, a literal deity. I was so happy that didn't happen. It was still a Xeno game, and, that's, means I, was not happy, but
Mhm.
still, nice that wasn't there. I was like, cool. And then,
I can't.
they made a Xenoblade 2, and they went right back to doing that again. So, Takahashi, I guess he's feeling okay. That he's still on his bullshit. So, alright.
Feeney actually wrote a really good fan fiction where she basically linked the wave existence, Udu, and Mira all as being one continuous thing that was kind of consistently trying to relate to human beings. And I just wanted to bring that up because it was very good.
Speaking of fan fictions,
Yes, tell me
don't
about
forget
yours.
to send in your fan fictions. to Tyler for the holiday episode.
Are you going to send in your fanfiction, Pure? Where they all just play baseball?
I have one. Well, it's got to be a holiday-themed fanfiction, right?
They can play holiday baseball.
Throw in a
No, not
Christmas
necessarily.
tree, it'll be fun.
Yeah, just write the whole
wait,
thing and then at the end say there was a Christmas tree.
Is it not supposed to be a holiday-themed fanfiction?
It can be winter themed.
or
It can
could
be
just
holiday.
Is that what it
They
said?
can be cold. If you put them in sweaters, that counts.
Well, I have a holiday-themed
Okay.
fanfiction in mind. As soon as I read the tweet, I was like, "Don't tempt me. I have something for you." You know.
That
Yeah,
you
send
said
it
it.
Please.
We'll be happy to have
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll start writing it. We'll see what happens.
Oh yeah.
You can make an RBI baseball fan fiction as long as the Xeno
You
characters
cannot
are
make
in there.
real person baseball fan fiction because gross. Oh,
I
sorry,
said
I heard you
RBI,
completely
yeah.
wrong.
Yes. Everyone send yours to XenoChatPodcast@gmail.com.
I have to write mine too.
Same.
Anyway,
Anyways,
Not gonna give away what mine is, but it's gonna
as
be
it should
terrible.
be. So about robots.
yes.
Who wants to talk about robots?
You know, I kind of I'm like hesitating to say something about like Udo and Xenogears' Wave Existence, but
Mhm.
You can
Go for it.
I don't know. I don't want to be here for too long. I don't want to make this a 4-hour episode.
I mean,
I have no
We're
idea
already
what to be
over
right
an
now.
hour. We haven't
If
even
it
gotten to
is-
the specific connections. We're going to be here
Okay,
for a while.
22 minutes of that is us talking about wrestling.
If it is, we're covered for 3
No,
months. So go
I'm
for
good
it.
because I think now that you mentioned that other section, I want to. I really. It's got to be like a needle. You just got to get it over with. Let's just move on.
Okay.
well, robot.
Brielle, do you want to talk about about robots?
Yes.
Brielle,
Oh, yeah.
talk about robots.
Okay, robots with biological attributes and, air quotes, mecha, not made by human hands and biorobots. So like... Why am I drawing a blank here?
Robots
Wow.
come up.
So, like there's these robots and, you put the toast in and you press the button down and then they shoot the toast back out.
Those were not
and, like,
made by human
sometimes they have
hands.
arms and they can
Those
fight.
were just found in the forest.
Yeah, and like,
Like,
oh wait, shit!
Yeah.
You mean God
pick
didn't
them
make
off
that
the
shit?
tree.
Like, I'm
Okay.
trying to think of the actual
Yeah,
names. I know Realians are one. I
Mhm.
can't remember the name for the life of me for what was... Oh wait, Gears.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was one.
We got gears. We got scales. We got eggs.
Androids.
And we got ES is somebody can spell.
We got the Mechons.
Mechons, yes.
We got the mechons. We got the artifices.
Let me clarify because I'm a little confused with this one. It says robots with biological attributes and mecha not made by human hands and biorobots. So these are all separate things, right? You're not just trying to.
No, it's
Okay,
a
I was
bunch
going
of
to say if
different
this
things.
is all
It's just
somehow
like-
one big contradiction, is none of these things exist. So,
Well, biorobots.
Okay.
we
No,
got
no, no,
the-
there's, like,
the
a bunch of,
Mechons.
like-
yeah, there's
Mechanis.
obviously there's like the super obvious ones like
I was. Go
well,
on.
a robot with biological attributes would be like Telos, literally a human body.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
stuff like that. I don't know if Ziggy counts. He has a human brain.
He's a
He
cyborg.
has
I
human
think I'd count
chest.
He is a
He's a
cyborg, but
cyborg,
when you
you
say
know.
robots with biological attributes, that's a cyborg. So-
Well,
Yeah.
the Realians were
Yeah.
synthetic like robots. They were made and look like humans to the point that they had synthetic tissues.
They're barely considered. I don't even know if they're. I don't think I've actually ever seen them considered robots in official stuff. They're
No,
usually,
I
was reading-
bio-made people.
I was reading
basically.
earlier, and it suggests.
Yeah, in Japanese, they
Yeah.
almost always refer to Realians. Like, if they're not using that word, they refer to them as synthetic humans in the Japanese material, and they use that term a lot. And that's probably why
I
in
just
the
thought
old
of, like-
dub, they called them synths instead of Realians at first.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I wasn't sure because, like, some of the writing in some places where I was looking on that one was like, well, they're... Because my first thought on Realians was I thought, oh, no, they're just, like, create like designer baby type things. Like they were created humans through like a slightly biological means, but some of the stuff I read almost felt like it was suggesting nanomachine son. So
they do keep some
thing.
things nebulous about it. So
all I know is that you can eat them and they're addictive.
Yeah.
Well, it was also that it looked like the parts of like Virgil where you see like the weird skin shit look like, oh well, then maybe that's like metallic looking on purpose.
It was more so that way in the anime. In the game, it's much more looks like scar tissue.
No, that's true. Too much iron in your diet. That's the problem. But yeah, like a lot of the robots not made by human hands, that kind of shit. It's just like in Gears, like, oh well, we found these, and we know how to work them, and things like that.
Yeah, because the Gears are all excavated by the ethos/church.
Yeah.
And Xenoblade would be the people of the
And then there's.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most obvious that these machines were not made by human hands.
And I guess I was thinking maybe the ESs, but it's not really so much the ES bodies, it's actually just like the
the anima relics.
That are, I guess. Yeah, it's just like the central processing unit bullshit.
Right, because the anima relics go into the animus, which is the ES.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Which is...
Yes.
I was going to
Sex
say it's a
joke,
reverse
right?
sex joke, because you have the female bit going into the male bit. So it's
You're
a
right.
specific ovipositor joke.
I'm glad
Excellent.
we just
Good
nailed
job,
that one.
everybody. High fives all around.
High five.
Alright. Do you have anything else to say about mecha or robots?
I mean, all I have to say is, like, they wanted to make a thing with robots in it, and they goddamn did it.
Fair enough.
Pretty
Like,
much.
some things aren't that deep.
And god damn it,
Yeah,
people
people
bought
are
it.
like, holy shit, I like robots. This game's got robots. I love those things.
I mean, it's just like you can sell robots some really dumb shit sometimes. Too,
I
so.
did almost buy a bag of Chex Mix because it had a robot on it.
Yeah.
Then I remembered it was
You know-
Chex Mix and I didn't want it.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
Alright, so environmental references across games.
I think those are
this
more
gets,
an
like-
impression of, like, things that are similar looking to us, more so than...
There are very
Yeah.
similar environmental themes. Yeah. It's stuff like, oh, there's a lot of ruined cities and ruined civilizations in these games. You got the land of Moritha, you've got Zeboim, you've got like Abraxas and Lost Jerusalem and Old Miltia and Ariadne and Calderos, and there's a bunch of structures in Oblivia that make it really seem like, hey, people probably built some shit here.
Yeah.
So that was kind of what that was referencing. There's a lot of a big theme of mixing just,
Yeah.
oh, well, this is kind of a fantasy-esque world, but look at all this technology left behind in it, in especially like Blade and Gears. Saga goes to space, so that's a little bit different, and Xenoblade X is kind of the same way, except for not, because you're on a planet, and there's a lot of that shit.
Also, I'm gonna go for the next one because that was for me, but that was just
Yep.
more, like, I felt whenever I got to Endel and Xenoblade 2, like, I felt like a big Xenosaga vibe somehow, like, it reminded me of Xenosaga while I stepped in, I don't know. Like, I don't think it's a specific reference, but just the vibe of it reminded me of Xenosaga somehow.
Yeah.
Uh,
Part of that's the music,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, I do.
The music and the big church place and like the way things were designed in general, like I felt a big Xenosaga vibe there.
yeah, except for you don't get to fight a church, so 0.
You also have to keep in mind that when it comes to these games, 4 of them in a row had the same art director.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the thing. That I was
Very
thinking
true.
that, like, sometimes these references aren't deeper than the same artist will produce art that looks kind of similar to other art they produced.
Yeah, Norihiro Takami did Xenosaga 2, Xenosaga 3 wasn't credited. Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade X as an art director, and he, he was basically like the set designer for like most of the areas. Even some of the monsters were his doing, or at least like in concept they were a lot of them. So,
I mean, the church was one of his monsters.
I have no idea. I think that feels like a Korai thing. It
could be.
Yeah, it doesn't, because it really feels like his thing whenever I look at like unpublished materials for it. But you can also skip that church fight by an exploit, so you don't have to suffer through it.
Okay. I did not know that, but I didn't have a whole lot of trouble with it, I guess.
I think it was discovered in 2014 or something. In 2013, you'd skip it.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Cool. I've not watched a speedrun of that game in a while.
Other places that are mentioned are Abel's Ark and Bionis Interior.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, so I recently played through Xenosaga 3 and, like, not but a few months after Xenoblade DE, and so I was going back to Bionis Interior was just like, oh, okay, yeah, Abel's
Yeah,
Ark.
to be honest, like, the moment I went in, like, it reminded me of that, especially I had just seen it again in your streams, so it was just like, yeah. This reminds me a lot of Abel's Ark.
Yeah, there's a bunch of fleshy meat tumors.
Floating nonsense.
And the little cells floating around, too.
Justin, you had the next suggestion on that environmental references list, so I'll let you go more in detail on that.
Oh, yeah,
You were good at it earlier.
Moradin and Kislev kind of seemed a bit similar to me, both in like the way they're presented, that industrial environment, but also because like, in terms of the story, like you're kind of introduced to Kislev. They're kind of shown as like the antagonists and as like these evil guys, and that's kind of how Moradin was introduced to you as well in Xenoblade 2. Like it's always like, oh, we're at war with Moradin. You hear these guys, they're kind of jerks, and I mean, hell, you're even fighting Morag as a boss. So like, I don't know. When I got to Moradin, it really reminded me of Kislev, and I felt like there was a couple little parallels there.
I mean, on your point, I'm gonna say wasteland-like, very militant environments.
Steam powered.
There's definitely that going for both that and Kislev. Yeah, like there was definitely that feel to both of them in some ways. But yeah, as far as other things, like there's like a lot of things in Xenoblade X. I feel look like New LA looks like a lot of cities in Xenosaga.
It's like
so
Fifth Jerusalem.
there is that as well.
Miltia, Second Miltia.
Yep, Fifth Jerusalem is especially.
Xenoblade X had he used similar like lighting techniques. It's obviously not the same. He's working on the Wii U, but yeah, because again, this is an art director thing. He's like keeping an eye on all that stuff and like conceptualizing it. And because Xenoblade X was signed, we went back to like more. It was closer to science fiction than Xenoblade was by like a long shot. So you end up seeing things that kind of a lot of people said it felt Xenosaga when they go to certain places, and that's largely the reason why.
Yeah,
Makes sense to me.
I like that. I like that consistency there.
And that's also why if you go to like say the World Tree in Xenoblade 2, doesn't really have the same environmental vibe as at least the science fiction-y parts as like Xenoblade X, or at least for the most part, and the Xenosaga 2 and 3 stuff. So
I got okay. So like the World Tree for me, and I'm going to go into this later because there is a later topic that is a lot more specific. But I think that the World Tree interior reminded me a lot of like Labyrinthos and things like that. So there was that.
There were some things that reminded me of Axe a little bit, like, but it had less to do with the environment and more to do with like, or not even just Axe, I guess, but just previous science fiction things in Xeno. Like the bike enemies do not feel like they belong in that game.
No.
The bike enemies are just like, is this a direct reference to that one thing that Cosmos was writing on?
I think they just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Like, well, this is just from a human society that was ahead of its time, our time. So of course, you're gonna have stuff like that.
I don't know who the mechanical designer was on some. I mean, I know it was kind of like, I know it varied a little bit because I know that like Choco designed that the Ares in X, but I don't know who designed all the other things. But there seemed like some similarities there into some other things too. But I guess we'll get more into that stuff.
Oh,
later.
and we actually do not have this written down because I kind of just thought of it right now. Two areas that are very similar are the themes from Xenogears and Argentum.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's very,
yeah, that's
they're
true.
very similar
Yeah,
vibes with that
yeah.
one. Like both of them have salvagers. They're both out at sea. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
I didn't even think about that.
both are a piece of junk that somehow floats.
Oh,
They're men of the sea.
oh, you can't mention that and not mention the one who bears fangs of God in Abel's Ark.
Yeah, yeah,
That's true.
Actually, did not think about that, but yeah, that's true.
All right.
I don't know if that one's on purpose to this day or not.
Yeah.
I mean, it could just be more of like, if you take the same person and ask them to make 5 things, the 5 things will look similar.
Yeah, that's fair. So I think we're pretty much covered on the environmental references.
Yeah.
You know, like there are I'm sure there are plenty more. If we think about them later in the episode, that's great and all. We'll bring them up. But for now, that's what
Yeah,
we
we
got.
should move to
We're
the next
moving
one. All right. Honestly, I'm not quite sure like who wrote the next one.
Okay. I
All right,
did,
so
I'll
you
bring
go on
up.
it.
Okay, so this isn't like big. This is just like one of those things that exists throughout, and it's just one of those things. It's like, oh yeah, the similar people writing the same shit. So the ancients, there's always like an ancient people, an ancient race, an ancient god, whatever in these series. There's like the Diablos in Xenogears. There's the giants in Xenoblade 1. There's the
Zaboymans.
the people of Zaboy. Zaboymans. There's the okay. So there's. I don't think I correct
I don't know.
that?
You just read
Okay.
Zaboymans, and
So
I just
there's-
love it, and I want to keep saying it.
So there's the
fun.
Sheboygans and there's the Samarians. And then there's freaking actual Jesus, which I did write that because
it
it's
is, but I don't
fucking
think Jesus is a race.
No, but it's just an ancient people reference, and I was just like, whatever. He's
The race of
You know,
Jesus.
Person from
it's an
ancient
ancient
times.
god or an ancient people. It's,
You mean
it's
if I
going in.
post the
Yeah.
fact that he has an article section on the Xenosaga wiki and put it on Twitter, I'll get free clout because haha, that's funny.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
But he
Yes,
also is still
yes.
not a race.
Look, I'm a kid who played Xenoblade, and I'm woke now because I played Xenosaga, and look at this funny thing that you don't remember if you were, born in the year 2000. Sorry. So we just lost a lot of listeners
So
there.
do the 5 of you
Okay.
still.
Cancelled.
Like, as a man that was born in 1942, I highly approve.
Okay, that's good because, I'm younger than that, and I feel, validated now.
Okay. So kind of our last kind of broader connections is the use of multimedia to tell a story. Now, what that means is, for example, Xenogears has the perfect works to kind of flesh out parts of the story.
Oh, don't forget, there's the quality fan content, like the LP archives by the Dark Id version of the Xenogears story, and there's also Rope of Robots, which are very,
What-
very worth your time.
What is it? What?
I think Tyler's getting confused with. I think he.
That's the fan content.
Yeah,
it's
I
the fan
think he
content
thought
that
you
is
were
very
referencing
quality.
Official materials.
No, it's not official, but it might as well be.
Well, I'm
It's a
just
good
having brain
explanation, is
fart
all I'm
'cause that's,
saying.
Like, you guys, you
You
talked
broke
about
Tyler.
that the last episode I edited. I'm like, what? Did I go back in time? I don't. Oh.
Well,
sorry, my bad.
The Xeno, connections and references, they extend to the podcast. You're living in a total recurrence right now.
Oh no. Oh.
Well, if you're confused, welcome to being a Xenoblade fan or a Xeno series fan. I'm confused. Everyone's confused. We'll all be confused together.
Well, I can continue if you'd like to be confused.
I'm okay. Like with Xenosaga, I mean, it has Xenosaga Freaks. It has the
Perfect guide.
Guide. And
The
it also
anime?
has drama CD. Oh yeah, Pied Piper. Let's not talk about the anime.
Yeah, the anime doesn't exist.
The Missing Year?
Missing Year.
Yeah, Missing Year is one.
Xenoblade has the Secret Files.
Yeah, that's true. There's a side story in that.
Then Xenoblade X, didn't it have, like, before it came out, didn't it have some, like, short stories that were posted online?
There is a small piece of side content in the... No, wait, that wasn't for Xenoblade X, that was for Xenoblade 2. I was thinking of the Siren model kits.
Yeah, that was with the
thing that
Xenoblade.
That actually is written down.
Model kits.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, man, real big effort.
Yeah,
You really cared about people seeing that piece of creative bankruptcy. Oh, I said, I mean, a little too spicy, I'm sorry.
Hot take.
No, it's
Civilization.
So I forgot what we were writing about, and oh wait, look at this concept we had in this old game that we'll write down again. Let's just do that.
No, I'm not going to say anything else.
No, that's fine. It's cool.
Yeah, several of the games, basically their story kind of branches out beyond the games in different ways.
Like the quality piece of work, Final Fantasy 15.
My brother just finished the 15 novel. Kind of off topic, but he actually really enjoyed it.
What do you think? I haven't read it.
Wait a minute, they made 15 Final Fantasies?
No. They only made 6.
Yes.
They only made 6.
Yeah.
Actually,
so
no. I'll recount that and say they made at least 9 because 9 is my favorite.
None's a spin-off. What are you talking about?
12 is also a spin-off.
No.
Listen,
they made 6. They made 1, 4, 6, 7, 9, and 10. That's 6 games. There you go. They did 6 games. They did 6 games before Takahashi did 6 games.
All right.
I have an incredibly
hot take. Let's go.
Let's go.
The Final Fantasy series. I honestly, there's a lot of them I actually can't.
Oh, what an uncommon opinion.
I don't like the
you.
ATB games that much, to be honest.
Canceled. Nick canceled.
You just lost us all of our followers.
How
Yeah.
dare you dislike things
And
sometimes.
also, I think that Final Fantasy 13
How
was actually
dare
kind of fun.
you?
Wow.
Wait, there's a Final Fantasy
And
13.
I also-
I thought it just went from 10 to 14. What happened?
I honestly don't really like 10 that much.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like Japanese
It's
people would be
okay.
more offended by that than Western.
Yeah. I would agree. I think so,
Yeah,
too.
probably. I mean,
I think 10
so
is
hey,
okay.
Call of Duty
So, hey.
fans. Call of Duty fans, I'm safe with you guys. Final Fantasy X, I'm not really into it. I get why people like it, but also, like,
Hold on.
Hello.
Listen, you gotta realize. I want you to look at my profile picture on Discord. It's one of my favorite Final Fantasy games.
Oh, I thought that was a JoJo reference. I'm just kidding.
I respect that, actually. I could definitely respect that.
No, I'm totally kidding. I love the
Final Fantasy II is a
artwork
weird
for sure
one.
anyway, and I really like a lot of the stories, especially. But there was a few that there was something about the gameplay I just could not get into.
You gotta pick
and,
one Final Fantasy
as for-
avatar, and I picked the one from the Final Fantasy mainline game that nobody likes. That's
what I say.
the
I
way
respect
am.
that.
Well,
Like,
hey,
I don't know.
Final Fantasy
I like
games
12.
have different
12's good.
specific connections between each of them, like Chocobos and Sid, and so does the Xeno series.
Yeah, and just
How about that
Cloud
segue?
even has an aneurysm and
Oh, that was a
yells
beautiful
Xenogears and
segue. Gonna ride that all over the mall.
And also, they stole the thunder of Xenogears.
Oh my god, no, we already did that. No.
Let's not get into
Come
that.
on.
We already did that. Sorry.
It was a very good segue.
All right, let's get back
yes.
to what we were trying to do. I think
Naming motifs.
Hold on, before you continue, listeners who are new around here, he was making a joke. He knows it's not real. He knows it's bullshit. Let's move on.
All right.
I actually have one more thing I wanted to mention before you get to specific connections.
Sure.
I'm not sure if this is really mentioned, anyone's you mentioned before, because I'm 78 and I can't remember. All the games have like most or all of them have a specific connection in terms of the end game. The end game of all the games' plot is usually breaking some kind of cycle. Like literally eternal recurrence, and Xenogears has its own thing, and I'm not sure if Xenoblade 1 would count as that.
Yeah, I would say so, because it's
Yes,
breaking
I
the
guess
cycle
so.
of Zanza
I think so.
eating everything and then making new things.
Yeah, and 2 is sort of, I mean, obviously it's part of the same continuity. It has literally, a specific character that shows up.
Yep.
I feel like Xenoblade X also has the where do we go from here kind of thing going for it because of what happens. Where it's just like, oh, well, we got to the life hold, and it's like, oh, well, it turns out maybe we didn't need it after all, so I guess we just move
the
on.
only thing is it doesn't have any specific cycle that some force is creating. That's the only thing.
True.
Xenodex is... I don't want to call Xenogame unique. That would be...
But you can call it unique among Xeno games.
I don't want to say that either.
Oh.
That'd be even more blasphemous.
I mean, every Xeno game was just Takahashi watching way too much Groundhog Day, I guess. But,
Man, there's something... Nah, I'm not going to say it. Nah.
Okay.
No, I was actually talking... I was talking about this. So it's something I can't talk... Like, I wanted to allude to it, but I wouldn't be able to get into detail. Maybe when the podcast is over, it's something I literally cannot, just come out and publicize.
Man, you're giving
We
me
can't even
Xeno
hint
blue
that.
balls.
We're going to have to,
over here.
cut that out.
Look, maybe after the podcast is over and you're done
okay.
with your stuff. And then I'll
Sounds
talk
good.
about it.
Just Xeno came.
Okay.
What we could argue is that Cross breaks the cycle of the idea of humans as the apex being, but that's not really a cycle. Though it does break that idea.
That feels a little bit like a religion thing.
Yeah.
How, because in religion it's like, Earth, it's like everything's on Earth. There's no mention of anything else. So it must be special in some way. It kind of follows through with that idea.
Save the game?
This ends part 1 of XenoChat's references episode. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll go into more concrete and explicit references throughout the Xeno series. In the meantime, you can keep up to date with any of our episodes through our Twitter at XenoChat Podcast, and you can email us for any corrections or suggestions through our Gmail account, xenochatpodcast@gmail.com. Also, one last time, we are running a holiday fan fiction contest. So if you have any desire to contribute to that, just send us your holiday-themed fanfiction to xenochatpodcast@gmail.com. All right, thanks again for listening. Have a good night, everybody.
See Proceeding without saving the game.
Different kind of broader scale aspects that are available that are kind of. Oh, God. Cut this, Tyler.
See, look what I can do!
And now nobody says anything funny ever again.
So, because because this episode's about baseball, I think we should start it with a Quad City DJ song. That's totally.
That's basketball!
I mean, we could change this into the Last Dance podcast if you want. I'm okay with it.
That's fine. I've never listened to that one, but I'll wing it.
The Last Dance is a documentary. Just
I just know about
I've never listened. Wait, you watch documentaries? What are we talking about?
Not only do I watch documentaries, I watch sports documentaries.
No, I mean,
Nerd!
like, you can see them. I just listened to them. I'm just kidding. Anyway, that I do watch some documentaries, but not very many. It's been a long time.
I think, unfortunately, the last documentary I watched was Tiger King, and I'm really distressed by that.
No, that's bad.
That's
Yeah.
barely a documentary.
I know. I didn't think about it until we were talking about this, and I'm like, oh shit, I think that was the last
I'm
one I
not
watched.
saying the documentary I last tried watching.
Let me guess. Finding Neverland.
No.
Space Jam?
Guys and Dolls.
No, was that really one controversial one? I tried watching 5 minutes of it and literally dropped it. I was like, nope.
Gloop Lab?
Oh, Super Size Me,
Nah,
right?
it was one of the ones that was on Netflix that had a lot of people up in arms.
Oh, then nope, I don't know it, because I was going to say
Yeah.
things that are older than Netflix.
Oh, wait, was it, that...
Yeah, it was that one.
Cuties?
That's not a doc-
Oh, was it a documentary? I thought it was just
That's a documentary?
Apparently.
I thought it was just
What
a
the
movie.
fuck?
I thought it was just a... Whatever.
Yeah, I thought it was just a film.
It was classified
Yeah.
under documentary.
Huh.
Okay.
I knew.
What?
That's why I'm
Okay.
like...
If you put, like, Werner Herzog on it, like, even if it's just a reality TV show, does it count as a documentary? Nothing, huh? No answers for me.
I got distracted by my friend's Steam name.
I'm sorry.
You know, I got Kerr, or Mecha MK2, in my server to watch 2 wrestling documentaries, and both of them made him cry at the end, so I was very happy that I made him some.
That
Oh,
sounds
wow.
cool.
Actually, I think
I'm not...
Tickle might have been the last documentary I watched.
I'm not even into wrestling, but it's so
Wrestling
much fun to
is
hear
so
about.
good. Wrestling
think
is
the
probably
last-
the only sport that I actually would ever invest any time into watching.
My friend was just messaging me
I've
about
tried, but I
AEW.
can't get
That's
into
actually a lot of
more.
fun.
I think the last
Lord.
documentary I watched was something about animals or something, because there's often some of those passing on TV randomly, and like if I go in the kitchen sometime it'll just be there and I'll be like, okay, well I guess I'm gonna watch this. But yeah.
I don't watch it all the time, but like every few months or so, there'll always be somebody around here who'll have like a wrestling night, so I'll go over that and we'll watch like AEW or like Money in the Bank or like WrestleMania, one of those events. Those are always a good time.
Yeah, I enjoy it when I watch it, but then like they'll talk about all of the bad blood, and I'm like, wait, I'm lost too. And then I go to the Wikipedia page, and it's like 60 pages long. I'm like, I don't
It's like getting
fucking have time.
Xeno. If you write at home.
Yeah, except that, like, I don't know at what point Cain killed God, because I don't think that happened. I was checking, and I don't think he did that. And then you also find out about Cain's real life, where it's just like, so Cain, the neoconservative, and you're like, I don't want to hear about him anymore.
Oh,
Come on,
he was my favorite back in the day, and that just...
I don't even,
Actually,
actually, no, I'm like probably combining 7 different wrestlers into one wrestler, because Cain...
Yeah, he's actually in the Libertarian Party.
Oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot which brand of
he's
idiot.
the mayor of Tennessee.
There was well, I've heard somebody call wrestling like a live-action version of American comic books, but I don't know how much. I mean, I know that like what they're saying, the continuity thing, and like changing status quo and shit like that, but I don't know.
I'm really glad we changed gears on this podcast. I'm really glad we're recording this. This is the new episode. Oh, welcome to XenoChat,
This is
where we talk about
like
indoctrinating these 7 other people into professional wrestling.
Yeah.
So when I worked at a group home, one of the clients, I don't know, really liked wrestling, so I would end up watching it with him. And I was describing wrestling to a friend of mine later as, like, this is basically just a gay soap opera. And then they got really mad at me for saying gay. And I'm like, no, I mean, this is very, like, evocative of men who love other men. Like, it's not, I'm not insulting it. I'm stating that this is a bunch of dudes liking other dudes.
Couple of dudes being dudes, couple of bros being bros.
Exactly. Because they were, like, really distressed about, like, oh man, you used to be my tag team partner, and now you're this guy's tag team partner.
I think from what I've heard, if I had the opportunity to see, like, Hood Slam, I would definitely do it. Which is, like, the thing where a bunch of people wrestle, but they all dress up as, like, video game characters. And
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I think it happens in, like, California, like San Francisco or something. I don't remember.
There's an anime con I was going to in Toronto, Anime North. They often had a wrestling ring where some people in cosplay were doing wrestling.
Cosplay pro wrestling is a lot of fun. I used to like the one at Too Many Games. They would have some insane matches, and they would like use the most ridiculous. They use the most ridiculous stuff as weapons. Like they use an Xbox 360 once.
Oh, that's amazing.
That sounds like it should be banned for being, like, too heavy.
I just want to see real life Zangief. That's all.
Yeah. But there's, like, a lot of overlap between, like, the wrestling fan base and anime fans and video game fans. Like, chances are, if you like anime, you probably like wrestling.
Oh my god. Pure, I love it.
Thank you, Pure, for proving my point.
Beautiful.
Wait, I think I have another. I remember when this happened, but I'm trying to. Oh, this is what I was looking for.
Again, it wasn't at all me being like wrestling is bad. It was just me going, this is a lot of dudes who are really interested in their relationship with dudes.
Yep.
Yeah, just bros being bros.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There isn't.
Bros being bros, full homo.
Speaking of sports, though, has anybody seen Stupid Robot Fighting League?
I think I've seen a little.
It's very
What
good.
is that?
It's robots that are, like, made out of trash. They're not actually robots, they're just puppets made out of trash to kind of look like robots.
Oh, it's a gift.
Is that the one where there's just a bunch of, like, chainsaws on wheels and shit?
They're not even chainsaws on wheels, they're, like,
okay.
tire rims on sticks.
Oh, okay.
And the, like, puppeteers will just punch the other robot, and it's amazing in how completely fucking dumb it is.
That sounds
so
cool.
Can I just enter a remote control shopping
No.
cart with a raccoon in it?
It's a puppet. It has to be a puppet. You
Okay.
control it with your body and sticks.
What?
So
I'm looking this up right now. This looks insane.
It's so good.
Oh, I gotta watch this.
You should. I saw it at like a sports bar. I saw it at a sports bra. I was just staring at a sports bra and it was projecting an image at me.
Yeah, that's the reason everyone's mad about Tifa.
Yes, because her bra was constantly projecting Stupid Robot Fighting League.
Exactly.
Oh, she got reduced to a B cup. You dummy. That's a sports bra. She's still a goddamn triple D. Get off your goddamn ass and go look at an actual picture of titties.
My goodness.
Is Triple D another wrestler? I think Triple D's a wrestler.
Triple H.
Triple H.
Triple H.
Wait a minute, guys. You telling me that you guys trying to tell me that there was a Final Fantasy VII remake? Did that happen?
No, that was a fever dream that everybody collectively shared in the trauma of 2020.
Oh, I love that this robot.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, no such thing. No such thing.
I can't believe they made a Robot Jocks TV show. It's crazy. Did they have the chainsaw penis one?
This fight is ridiculous.
It's so good. You're watching Stupid Robot Fighting League because it's amazing.
I am.
It's so good.
Jeez.
I'm watching the Molten Man versus Gorgatron 9000.
It's the best sport.
I need to do research later and watch some.
Okay, yeah.
Stupid Robot Fighting League.
Robot Fighting League. These look like fucking Kamen Rider shit.
Then you're looking at way better robots.
Yeah, what Kamen Rider stuff are you looking at?
You're either looking at
it's
shitty
like
Kamen Rider or...
No, I'm saying it's like some of the costumes remind me of that. Like, they're way more intricate than you sold them to me on.
Are you looking at the right things?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not. Oh, okay, my bad. This is Robot Combat League.
No, stupid robot
Stupid
fighting
robot
league.
fighting league.
Yep,
Get
I'm
it
looking at the wrong
right.
thing.
Oh my god.
I was like, this doesn't seem like what I thought I saw.
This seems really intelligent.
I was gonna say,
thought
like,
out. No.
I don't know what you're
okay,
looking
this
at.
is way different.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a piece of trash.
There you go. Now you're looking
Oh,
at the right thing.
Oh, sweet, this
Yeah.
one has arms made out of, like, those tin can phones.
Yeah. It's a great sport. I don't know why it's not more
amazing.
popular. It should replace every sport.
I thought you were just calling it stupid. I
No,
didn't know it was
that's
in
the name.
at first.
It's Stupid
Yeah.
Robot Fighting League.
That's amazing.
You know, next time we meet
Oh,
each
this
other,
actually made it to ESPN.
next time we meet each
Huh,
other, we should
interesting.
try and make a stupid robot fight.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
I mean, let's be honest, ESPN's a really low bar these days.
Also, depending on the season, there's just no sports.
It is, but like, I'm just surprised that it even made it on TV.
Alright,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
true.
be back and then I'll be good to record.
All right, sounds good.
Hi, babe.
Wait, we are recording.
Let me just
though.
make a mess. That's chill.
I think he means to start. I hope.
Yeah, gotcha.
Wait, we haven't started?
Yeah, we've started.
Why would
we're
he?
in the middle of
Why
an
would he
episode.
recording? We're
Oh.
just waiting to officially start the real topic.
So we didn't
yeah,
officially start. I thought this was the episode. All right.
I mean, kind of. It's probably going to be
Oh
in there
my
somewhere.
god, my husband just walked in, gave me a kiss, and then Robot walked backwards out of the room and closed the door slowly with a big smile on his face.
That is cute.
Great.
Aw.
He asked if we started. I was like, I think we have, but we're not even on the topic yet. We're just talking about baseball and sports. And robot fights, and he's like, I'm gonna come
Dumb
in there real
robots.
quick, and he just came in, like did a slow robot like dance, came over, was like, I'ma sneak in, then came over, gave me a smooch, and then literally in the same stupid way just did the robot dance backwards and then closed the door slowly. I was like,
Amazing.
I did like a cartoon or something.
When the eyes of Erda Kaiser shine, its special technique Kaiser Victory Spark is activated.
What?
Crazy.
That
Oh.
was...
Oh.
I know what buttons are.
What?
I hit the
Wrong
wrong button.
You pressed the wrong button.
Sounds like you're...
I hit the... I wanted to hit the unmute
Oh.
and I hit the hang up.
Oh no.
Oh.
It's okay.
We're
You're
good.
back.
It's like a reverse butt dialing.
Butt hanging up.
You're back. That's the most important thing.
Yes, I'm back. I'm here.
Okay,
And
if
it
it's like
didn't
the kind of
interrupt.
phone you have
Also,
to...
Right.
the
Please switch to disc 2.